Can you feel it? That strange sensation that something isn't quite right with the world around you. That inexplicable knowing that there must be more to life than what you've been taught. I assure you, dear friend, this disturbance in your consciousness is not mere coincidence. It is the stirring of your divine nature calling you home to truth. What? What if I told you that everything, yes, absolutely everything you've been taught about manifestation, about creating your reality, about the very nature of your existence, has been built upon a fundamental misunderstanding, that the vision boards you've carefully crafted, the affirmations you've diligently repeated, the crystals you've meticulously arranged while not without merit, have been merely scratching the surface of your true creative power. Today I'm going to reveal what Neville Goddard, the mystical giant, whose teachings have been tragically diluted and misinterpreted, actually taught about the magnificent power sleeping within you. These are the teachings that most self-proclaimed experts get completely wrong or deliberately hide from you because they know once you understand this, you'll need no guru but yourself. For those unfamiliar, Neville Goddard stands as one of the most profound and influential teachers of manifestation and consciousness in the 20th century. Unlike many contemporaries who packaged spiritual principles into palatable, commercialized concepts, Neville offered the raw, unfiltered truth about your divine nature. A truth so revolutionary, so contrary to conventional thinking, that many could not, and still cannot, fully grasp its implications. After devoting over 15 years to studying Goddard's complete works, his books, lectures, and private teachings, I discovered crucial elements that most people miss entirely. Elements that, once understood and applied, transform manifestation from an occasional hit-or-miss occurrence into a consistent expression of your divine creative power. What separates those who struggle endlessly with manifestation techniques from those who effortlessly create their desired reality? It isn't luck, it isn't some special gift, and it certainly isn't about who can visualize more vividly or affirm more passionately. The difference lies in understanding what Neville Goddard knew with absolute certainty, the true nature of who you are. In this video, I'll shatter 3 major misconceptions about manifestation that have kept you trapped in cycles of hope and disappointment. These aren't minor adjustments to techniques you already know. They represent a complete paradigm shift in how you perceive yourself and reality, a shift that, once made, can never be undone. You see, what Neville understood and what I'm about to share with you isn't just another manifestation technique. It's the revelation of your true identity, a revelation so profound that it renders most spiritual seeking obsolete. Because once you truly know who you are, seeking itself becomes unnecessary. Now I must warn you, what I'm about to share may directly contradict spiritual teachings you've held dear. It may challenge your most fundamental beliefs about reality. This is not information for the casual spiritual tourist or the dabbler in manifestation. This is for those who are ready to abandon comforting half-truths in pursuit of the complete picture. The first shocking truth about manifestation that Neville revealed is that you are not manifesting anything at all, because there is nothing outside of you to manifest. This isn't poetic metaphor, this is literal cosmic truth. Let me ask you this. Have you ever wondered why some desires manifest instantly, while others, perhaps those you want most destined, seem perpetually out of reach? The conventional wisdom says it's because you have blocks or resistance, or your vibration isn't high enough. But what if the real reason is far simpler, yet so profound that it changes everything? What if the reason some desires don't manifest is that you're approaching reality with a fundamental misunderstanding of what and who you actually are? Consider this. When you reach for an apple in your dream, do you need to manifest it? Of course not. It's already yours, created by your consciousness as part of the dream. According to Neville, your waking reality functions in precisely the same way. The world you walk through daily is no more external to you than the world you experience in your dreams. This isn't New Age fantasy. This is the essence of what the world's wisdom traditions have been pointing toward for millennia. This is what Neville meant when he said, the world is yourself pushed out. Not as metaphor, but as literal truth. Most manifestation teachings begin with the assumption that you are a limited being in a vast external world, struggling to influence that world through various techniques. But Neville's revolutionary teaching begins with the understanding that there is no external world separate from your consciousness. The entire universe, every person, object, and circumstance is contained within your consciousness. This first truth, that there is nothing to attract because everything already exists within you, forms the foundation upon which all effective manifestation must be built. Without this understanding, you'll forever be like a fish in the ocean, searching desperately for water. Some of you may be thinking, but I see an objective world. I feel physical limitations. How can this all be within my consciousness? These are natural questions from the perspective of someone who still identifies exclusively with their physical body and personal mind. But as Neville would say, you are not the person you believe yourself to be. The person you think you are, the one with your name, your history, your limitations, is merely a character in the grand dream of your true self. Your true identity is what Neville called God, or I am, the one consciousness that dreams all of existence into being. When you truly grasp this first revelation, you'll understand why trying to attract things to yourself is like trying to attract your hand to your arm. It's already you. There is nothing to attract, because there is nothing outside of you. This isn't spiritual bypassing, this is the ultimate empowerment. The first devastating misconception about manifestation that we must address directly is this persistent belief that manifestation is somehow about attracting things from outside yourself. This notion has been reinforced by countless books, videos, and experts who speak of the universe as some external force that you must persuade to deliver your desires. Let me be crystal clear, Neville Goddard taught the exact opposite. The whole vast world is yourself pushed out, Neville declared without equivocation. The world is nothing more than your consciousness objectified. These aren't poetic metaphors. These are precise descriptions of the actual structure of reality. When you truly understand this principle, manifestation becomes an entirely different process. You are not trying to attract anything. You are simply becoming aware of what is already yours. Everything you could possibly desire already exists within your own magnificent consciousness. Your only task is to call it forth through the power of your assumption. Consider these words from Neville's lecture, The Pearl of Great Price. Consciousness is the one and only reality. The world and all within it are states of consciousness, objectified. This means your financial circumstances, your relationships, your health, all are simply expressions of states you have occupied in consciousness. Let me share with you a remarkable example from Neville's own lectures. A woman attended his talks in New York City who desperately wanted to visit her family in Barbados, but lacked the financial means for the journey. Following Neville's instructions, instead of focusing on attracting money or manifesting a ticket, she simply assumed the state of already being in Barbados. Each night before sleep, she would mentally walk up the steps of her family home, feel the tropical breeze, hear the familiar voices of her loved ones, and feel the joy of being there. Within a few weeks, a series of unexpected events unfolded: a refund from an old debt, a gift from a relative, and a discount on travel that made her journey possible without any conscious effort to attract these things. Why did this work? Because she wasn't trying to pull something from an external universe. She was simply stepping into a state that already existed within her consciousness, allowing it to objectify in her experience. The second devastating misconception is that manifestation requires constant repetition of affirmations or visualizations to eventually convince your subconscious mind or the universe to deliver your desire. How exhausting and how fundamentally misaligned with Neville's actual teaching. It is not what you do once in a while that shapes your life, but what you do consistently, says modern motivational speakers. But Neville taught something far more powerful. You need not repeat the assumption. If you did, it would imply that you do not have what you have assumed. This is the profound principle that Neville called living from the end. Instead of repeatedly affirming or visualizing attract something in the future, you simply assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled now. You step into the consciousness of already having what you desire, and from that state you view the world. The critical difference is this: conventional techniques maintain the separation between you and your desire, placing it perpetually in the future. Neville's approach collapses this illusory gap, bringing your desire into your present reality through the transformative power of assumption. One of my clients, a struggling artist who had been using conventional manifestation techniques for years without success, applied this principle to her career. Rather than affirming daily "I am becoming successful" or visualizing future gallery openings, she simply assumed the state of consciousness of a successful artist. She began to see the world through the eyes of a successful artist. She made decisions as a successful artist would. She carried herself with the quiet confidence of someone whose work is valued and sought after. Within 3 months, opportunities that had been non-existent suddenly appeared. Gallery owners reaching out, collectors discovering her work, and media features that she hadn't pursued. This dramatic shift didn't come from attracting these opportunities from an external universe. It came from her shift in consciousness that allowed these already existing possibilities to express in her experience. As Neville wrote in Feeling is the Secret, the feeling of the wish fulfilled, if assumed and manned, must objectify the state that would have created it. Note his precision of language here, must objectify, not might, not could, not should, must. This is law. The third devastating misconception, perhaps the most pervasive in today's manifestation culture, is that successful manifestation requires maintaining positive thinking and high vibrations. This has led countless sincere seekers to suppress negative emotions, engage in toxic positivity, and feel guilty when they can't maintain artificial emotional states. Neville's teaching cuts through this superficial approach with surgical precision. It is not your fleeting emotional states that create your reality, but your deep feeling and assumption of the state of consciousness you occupy. Feeling, as Neville used the term, doesn't refer to temporary emotions like happiness or excitement. It refers to the conviction of being the subjective reality of already having or being what you desire. This feeling can exist independently of surface emotions. This is why Neville's powerful technique of revision differs fundamentally from positive thinking. Revision isn't about replacing negative thoughts with positive ones. It's about reclaiming your power as the author of your experience by rewriting events in your imagination according to your desires. When you practice revision, you're not denying what appears to have happened. You're exercising your divine prerogative to experience what you prefer instead. This isn't delusion, it's the highest form of creative power. The law of assumption that Neville taught transcends the popular law of attraction in both depth and efficacy. The law of attraction suggests that like attracts like, placing you in the position of a magnetic force pulling matching experiences toward you. The law of assumption, by contrast, recognizes that you are the operant power, the God of your reality, and what you consciously assume as true must be made manifest. As Neville stated, you are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe it is the only reason you do not see it. This isn't spiritual theory. This is practical application of your divine nature. Your consciousness is the only reality. Your assumptions shape that consciousness, and physical reality has no choice but to reflect your assumptions. This is not the power of positive thinking. This is the revelation of your identity as the one creative consciousness expressing itself through countless states. What I've shared with you today represents a seismic shift in understanding your relationship with reality. To review the 3 key revelations about Neville Goddard's true teachings that most get wrong. First, manifestation is not about attracting anything from outside yourself, because there is nothing outside of your consciousness. The entire universe is yourself pushed out. Second, manifestation doesn't require repetitive visualization or affirmation, but rather assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled once and living from that state. And third, successful creation isn't dependent on maintaining positive emotions, but on occupying the state of consciousness where your desire is already fulfilled. These revelations transform manifestation from a hit-or-miss external process into the consistent, natural expression of your divine creative power. But knowledge without application remains merely interesting theory. So how do you actually apply these profound truths in your daily experience? I want to share with you a simple but powerfully effective exercise drawn directly from Neville's teachings that you can begin practicing immediately. This isn't another visualization technique. This is a direct pathway to experiencing your true identity as the creator of your reality. Tonight, as you prepare for sleep, choose one desire that you wish to experience as fulfilled. It could be related to your financial situation, a relationship, your health, or any other aspect of life. Now, create a short, simple scene that would imply your desire is already fulfilled. This scene should be no more than 20-30 seconds if it were to play out in physical reality. For example, if financial abundance is your desire, perhaps your scene is simply hearing a friend congratulate you on your financial success, feeling their hand shake yours, and responding with genuine gratitude. If it's health-related, perhaps it's a doctor expressing amazement at your perfect test results. The scene should be simple enough to easily maintain in imagination. Now comes the crucial element that most people miss. As you lie in bed, bring this scene before your mind's eye and step into it. Fully, see it through your own eyes, not as an observer watching yourself. Feel the handshake or hear the words as if they are actually occurring now. Engage all your senses. What do you see, hear, feel, smell, perhaps even taste in this scene? Most importantly, capture and maintain the feeling of this wish fulfilled. Not just temporary emotion, but the deep knowing that this is now your reality. Repeat this scene, immersing yourself in it fully until it takes on the tones of reality, until it feels more real than your bedroom around you. Then, and this is critical, fall asleep in this state. Allow yourself to drift into slumber while maintaining this feeling of wish fulfilled. As Neville taught, sleep is the doorway to the subconscious, and what you impress upon your consciousness as you fall asleep has unique manifesting power. What makes this technique so effective is that it bypasses the analytical, doubting conscious mind and delivers your assumption directly to the subconscious, which knows no distinction between imaginal and physical experience. Your subconscious accepts what you have impressed upon it and proceeds to rearrange the substance of your reality to match this new assumption. Having done this exercise once, you need not repeat it endlessly. The key is not repetition, but the intensity of feeling and the completeness of your assumption. In the following days, simply maintain the quiet confidence that your desire is fulfilled. If doubts arise, and they likely will, gently remind yourself of the feeling you impressed during your exercise. Return to that feeling state without effort or struggle. This approach is vastly different from constantly affirming what you don't yet see or visualizing something as still to come. You are not trying to make something happen. You are simply claiming what already exists in your consciousness and allowing it to externalize in your experience. Some of you might be wondering, but what if nothing happens? What if my reality doesn't change? This question itself reveals the persistence of old thinking patterns. You're still positioning yourself as separate from your desire, waiting for something external to shift. Remember Neville's words. The world is yourself pushed out. Any resistance you experience is not coming from an external world, but from contradictory assumptions within your own consciousness. If you find yourself doubting, ask, what must I be assuming to experience this doubt? Then consciously choose a different assumption. Your power lies not in controlling external circumstances, but in selecting the state of consciousness you occupy. Others might ask, how long will it take to see results? Again, this question emerges from the old paradigm of separation. Time is relative to the state of consciousness. Some desires appear instantly when assumed with complete conviction. Others seem to require what we perceive as time to fully unfold. But remember, even the perception of time is just another aspect of the state you occupy. What I've shared with you today isn't just another manifestation technique to add to your spiritual toolkit. It's an invitation to remember who you truly are. The one creative consciousness expressing itself through countless forms and experiences. When you know yourself as this creative power, manifestation ceases to be something you do and becomes what you are. This understanding renders most spiritual seeking obsolete because there's nothing to seek outside yourself. You already are everything you could possibly desire to be. Your journey is not one of attainment, but of recognition and expression of what already is. For those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, the teaching I've shared today contains the pearl of great rice, the understanding that sets you free from limitation once and for all. While others continue struggling with techniques that reinforce separation, you now possess the direct path to experiencing your divine creative power. Now that you know what Neville Goddard really taught, you can stop wasting time on approaches that produce inconsistent results and begin experiencing the consistent, joyful manifestation that is your birthright. Your world is waiting to reflect back to you the grandeur of who you truly are. Remember, you are not the limited human personality you've identified with. You are the one consciousness, the I Am, expressing through this particular form, and all things are possible to the I Am. If this revelation has resonated with your being, if you feel called to dive deeper into these teachings and master the art of conscious creation as Neville taught it, then subscribe to this channel, where we'll continue to explore the misunderstood teachings of manifestation masters. Together, we'll peel away the layers of misinterpretation to reveal the pure, powerful truths that transform not just your circumstances, but your very experience of being.